Welcome to Race Control in Alicante, the Volvo Ocean Race Headquarters. I'm Genny Tulloch. I have with me CEO Knut Frostad, and it's day 12 of leg 5, the Southern Ocean leg. The conditions have been really crazy for the teams the past couple legs, essentially everything we expect out of the Southern Ocean.
Well, yeah, I mean, the end of this leg from New Zealand, it has been exactly what Southern Ocean is all about. We had a pretty sort of mild period in the middle, but the teams, particularly on the wind side, but a lot of drama, and obviously Cape Horn, we have an amazing rounding with such close racing. I've never seen anything like this my whole life.
Let's take a look at exactly how close that is on the virtual eye tracker. This is Cape Horn, the iconic monument the sailors are just about to round. And overnight, the breaking news was Dongfeng Race Team breaking their mast. You can see how they've slowed up. The top 4 teams, though, approaching Cape Horn. We're hoping to speak with Team Medica very shortly via LiveX. After them, close behind, Abu Dhabi, Mapfre, and Team Brunel. But let's talk about Dongfang Race Team. What's happened? Give us the quick update.
Well, what has happened is that early this morning we got a message from the team that they had broken their mast, and we don't know exactly why it happened and how it happened, but the top of the mast, above the third spreader, has broken off, and the crew is safe. They have had no injuries on the boat. But obviously this happened in the middle of the night, as you can see here, pitch black darkness. They were doing 27 knots of boat speed just before they broke the mast. So pretty dramatic condition and strong winds, big sea states. And luckily no one got injured. They managed to calm the situation down and get the loose pieces tied in.
And as you said, it happened at the top of the mast. So just above the third spreader, we can see here actually the mainsail still up. This was a call with Charles Caudrelier and team manager Knut.
La situation est la suivante. Le mât est pété au-dessus du 6e étage de barre de flèche. La tête de mât est pendante avec la grand voile accrochée dessus et le frac. Donc on est un peu emmerdé parce qu'on n'arrive pas à descendre ce tube et puis la grand voile est hookée dessus, donc c'est chiant, même si on coupe tout. Puis je veux pas envoyer un mec, le mât il tient à peine par 2 barres de flèche. Donc je peux pas envoyer un mec, j'ai pas de brise de toute façon. Donc là ce qu'on fait, c'est qu'on avance, on arrive à avancer entre 10 et 12 nœuds là, vers le Cape Horn. Moi ça ressemble à rien, il y a le frac qui bat à l'horizontale.
So it's not a good situation obviously for them. What are the steps forward for the team?
Well, I mean, the most critical thing now is that they have a mast which is supported only on one side. It has no support at all on their starboard side, so they cannot jibe, they cannot tack because there's nothing holding the rig up. So they're trying to support the rig, but it's a pretty shaky situation, so it's not at all, even though they have a big piece left, it's unsupported. So what they're doing now, they're continuing under sail. They still have small sails up and they're still able to move forward around 7 knots of speed. And currently their plan is to get to Ushuaia through what we call the Beagle Channel, which is a sort of narrow channel on the south tip of South America, and they're working their way towards the Beagle Channel. And we have to remember that just west of this team is a big storm at the moment building up behind the fleet, and we have been concerned for some time about that, in particular Team SCA, that is the last boat in the fleet. And obviously they run the risk of actually getting worse and worse conditions as they get closer to the coast. So we would like them to get as quick as possible to the coast, but they are most likely going to arrive at the entrance of the Beagle Channels at night time.
And Ushuaia, this is the southernmost city of the Americas, perhaps in the world. It fights with Port Williams, which we'll go to later, where the lighthouse is for Cape Horn. But you can see here on the map, Ushuaia, Dongfang doing about 9 knots towards it. And as Knut said, towards the Beagle Channel that will take them to there. And that itself is going to be a bit of a risky scenario as well, just getting through that skinny channel. I heard it's only 0.3 of a mile wide at points.
Well, it's quite an interesting channel. I mean, it's a very dramatic nature, mountains, glaciers nearby, so big temperature differences. So we can have some radical weather in there, some pretty tough storms in that channel. At the same time, the team is still trying now to sail and not to use any assistance, not to use engine. And as long as they are sailing, they have an ability, at least theoretically, to get to Itajaí themselves and complete the leg. If they start the engine, they have to suspend racing. And if they're not able to return to that point and complete the race under sail, they will be scored as not finishing. And the difference between finishing and not finishing is, for them now, is actually 2 points.
Right.
and knowing how close it is in the overalls in the Volvo Ocean Race. And Dongfeng, before this happened, was tied for points to overall lead the race.
Exactly.
They will not let any point go. So I think that Charles Caudrelier and his team is going to try as long as they possibly can to make it all the way to Itajaí in their sail. But they also have to remember they have to have time to get to Itajaí, hopefully then have their spare rig, change the rig, have the boat ready for the restart again.
So when we spoke with Charles Caudrelier just a couple hours ago, he wasn't quite sure about this. They were up in the air, but he still had a good spirit. Let's take a look at that live X. Hi, Charles. It's Genny. Can you hear us?
Whoop. Hello.
Hello. So sorry
Hello,
for your misfortune this morning, but thank you for joining us. Can you talk us through what happened?
We were sailing. And suddenly I was inside in watch, and I heard a bang. I thought it was a rudder because the guy on deck called everybody on deck. He didn't know what happened. And the first thing I imagined it was in fact the main car of the mainsail, the top car of the mainsail was broken. He didn't really realize that the mast was broken. And then we come outside and yeah. It was full night, so we didn't see anything, and yeah, we put the light on the top of the mast. Yeah, the mast was broken over the third spreader. So yeah, end of the race. Well, not end of the race, but end of the leg maybe.
Do you guys have any thoughts as to why?
No, we are not pushing a lot. As you have seen, we are pushing less than the other one. I really wanted to take care about the boat, and yeah. And we will have to find why. We have a few ideas. It doesn't seem that we break a cable. It's more the mast. I think the mast to break himself. Why we don't know. We have to solve this problem with a guy from Southern Spar. We have an idea about that, but it's too early to speak about that, I think. And, but we didn't do any mistake. I mean, I didn't do a Chinese jibe again, or we didn't do. We were sailing normally. Not in a very strong condition, fast condition for sure, but. We were fast, and but the sea state was quite good, and no, there is not any obvious reason except something we have to find. Is it default in the mast? Is it the way we use the mast? I don't know.
You seem to be in an okay mood, though. How are the crew? How is everybody on board?
Oh, we are in the action right now. Well, we didn't have too much time to think, for sure, but we are going to lose a lot of points. It's not ideal for a leader. We are going to have a hard moment because instead of being racing during the next 7 days, we will be try to solve the problem and try to join the next leg. So we are going to be very busy, maybe have no rest for us, so it's going to be a hard time for our team, but that's I always told to my guy that you don't do a Volvo Ocean Race without meeting a big problem, or sometimes it's only human problem, or but last time I was what I remember is last time I broke a mast in the same leg, and we won the Volvo, so the game is not over for us. We are going to lose some point, but we'll be still in the podium, and we are going to attack and try to come back. It's not the end of the world, it's just one leg.
Fair enough. No, really good outlook and good, I guess, deja vu from last race. So the question now, where do you go from here, and how do you guys get the boat to Itajaí?
Yeah, we don't need any assistant. We are going to ourselves to go to try to reach Ushuaia. This is our goal for the moment. So we are trying to sail. We are moving 8-9 knots right now. We still have a big part of the mast and 2 head sails. We can use, one small and one a bit bigger. The main problem for us right now is that we have 4 or 5 meters of the mast flying over our head, just holding by one halyard, and at the end of this part of the mast you have the fractional sail, which was the big front sail we had when we were sailing, which is flying on the leeward, and we have to solve this problem, because we cannot go to Ushuaia or to Harbour like that, and that is my main concern now, is how we're going to manage that. It's not over for us. Maybe we'll have to abandon all the rig. I hope not. We try to. I'm not sure we can save our main sails. So this is what we are going to focus on the next hours, is to save the main sail and save the 2 front sails we have.
Fair enough. Okay, and then once you get to Ushuaia, how do you get the boat over the Indride?
That's a good question. It's a bit early for me to answer you, but we will go anyway, and I'm sure we'll be on the start of the next leg, and don't worry, we'll be back.
We're ready to go. Okay, Charles, thank you so much. I'm going to give you
Woman way like we say in Chinese.
Well, amazing as well. He said we'll be back, but he seemed like he was actually in such a good mood, sort of.
Yeah, he's probably not in a good mood deep inside, but I think, there's no doubt that the racing we have seen over the last 24 hours, we had 5 boats constantly sitting around, 22 knots, 22 to 30 knots of boat speed non-stop, and they're within, half an hour of each other in total. Racing that close and knowing how much is at stake in the race overall, it's tense, and it's quite stressful for a skipper, because you're on the borderline all the time, and you have the crew not sleeping. They have been doing a lot of maneuvers in difficult conditions, middle of the night. So I think in one way, when you break, you kind of realize, I'm out now.
Yeah.
So you kind of let the stress, the concern you had before pushing the boat, that's kind of goes out as an arrow out the balloon,
Dealing with the break and
then you
aftermath.
can kind of drop your shoulders, and then you start to think seamanship only,
right.
and it's a different story.
Yeah.
I was in this same situation in 2005 on board Brazil 1. We were pushing like crazy in the Southern Ocean, and suddenly we lost the mast, and then your life just changes in a second. And actually, a bit of humor comes into the picture. It's a way to deal with the stress.
Deal with the bummer. Well, and as Charles said, this happened to him in the last race, and they still won the race afterwards. So he seemed to think it's almost like the deja vu was good for him. He was like, "We're not out. This is it. It's happened before." Ian as well has lost his mast in this leg, but Ian, we heard, just had the 24-hour record over the past.
Yeah, they just had the best run in the race so far. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing just clocked now 551 nautical miles in 24 hours. Which is very, very fast. And they didn't even have very dramatic conditions. They have not really seen a lot of wind. They've seen wind, but not crazy. So 551 nautical miles in 24 hours, that is an average speed, straight line, point to point of 23 knots. So it is very, very fast.
And like you said, they're doing 23 knots, but they're also so close. We have some footage earlier of Mapfre and Avi Medica essentially at closing speeds of 50 knots, because they were both doing 25. This was maybe the most amazing piece of footage I feel like I've seen this entire race.
Yeah, it's amazing. For those who know ocean racing, to match race boats like this and cut each other's stern just with a couple of boat lengths, in this kind of speed in the middle of the Southern Ocean is unheard of. And the funny thing with the camera, you see as the camera is swinging around, you see another boat in front of them, and it's quite amazing. They can see basically 3 other boats driving on top of each other down south. It's unheard of. Here we have another boat,
Yeah.
Quite amazing.
And you can see, of course, Mark Tall there laughing in the background, like, shocker that they got across on port 2, because that's half of it, is they're going so fast, and they're almost, maybe weren't sure if they could clear, and so it was really cool. You could hear Houston calling them across. We've got it, we are clear ahead, we've got this, but I just actually can't imagine in the middle of the Southern Ocean having a cross like that and being worried about it at those speeds. No. It was phenomenal. But it's been great as well to see exactly what the Southern Ocean is about. We've been calling it life at the extreme, and the sailors are basically saying they are now feeling like this is the Volvo, this is the leg, and some of the conditions that we've seen have shown that immensely. We've had huge waves, we've had knockdowns, we've had wipeouts, but This is just some incredible footage that we've gotten. This was off of New Zealand, East Cape. We had a helicopter just able to manage grabbing the fleet before they left, essentially land for 15 days. So we've got Dongfang, Mapfre, and Abu Dhabi just barely by heli. And this wasn't even before it got gnarly. This was just the tail end of Cyclone Pam.
This was the tail end of Cyclone Pam, and they were obviously trying very hard to hang on to that cyclone that then became a big low pressure system in the Southern Ocean. So, and they managed to hang on to it for quite a while. But what was interesting, and that was the feedback we got from the teams, was the sea state they discovered, 24 hours after they left New Zealand. And that's even after these pictures. It was pretty serious wave conditions.
Yeah. It's just so pretty to be able to see the boats in what they've been made for, in terms of all of the safety preparation you guys made to make this one design fleet safer for the sailors around the world. And then we can see the boats here with such a strange wave angle as well. But
yeah, no, I think that's something we have to always sort of be aware of, that someone's seasick there, is that even though you can try hard to make the boat safer, I mean, it's still a carbon racing boat, and it's still being pushed in very big conditions. And I met some designers in Formula One once who said that one thing is driving a car on a flat surface, but this is like 65-foot racing machine being hammered on big waves, like hard as a rock.
Yeah.
So it's pretty tough for the boats and the equipment. You have to balance that very, very carefully. We see one of the Chinese sailors here having his first christening in the Southern Ocean. Sort of smiling and half scared and half smiling. It's such a dramatic experience.
Fully knocked down by a wave and then came up smiling. Impressive as well, the number of people who have done this leg, and then actually the number of people in the race who haven't. There's the 2 Chinese on board Dongfang, and on Alvimedica there's 6 aboard who haven't gone around Cape Horn before. So speaking of Alvimedica, we will be trying to get them on LiveX soon, though I think it'll be Abu Dhabi next. But just beautiful. And also, this is the last time we saw them by helicopter from land. This was as they were leaving New Zealand, leaving East Cape. We do have quite a mission in place to try to get helicopter footage as they round Cape Horn. So fingers crossed. It is daylight right now. We know all the teams are jibing to get around. So we've not been able to get them on LiveX as yet because they are quite busy jibing and restacking. This is just how close they are to Cape Horn, and you can see both Alvimedica and Abu Dhabi have just done jibes within the last 10 minutes. And of course, that's a long process to stack again afterwards, and it's still 30 knots down there, and the sea state, I think, is about 4 meters right now.
Yeah, it's a big sea state, and what is interesting is this weather that's coming up behind them. So we have this big low pressure system to the west of the fleet that is slowly catching up with them, which is going to give them more and more breeze the later they are. So the leading pack has managed to get just ahead of that. Team SCA is going to get a lot of that, very tough condition. And also it means that they will have pretty strong breeze as they go east of Cape Horn and heads north. So and that's what people kind of think. They think that get past Cape Horn and then you're on the way home and everything is going to be nice and easy. But they have to pass some pretty radical conditions going north past the Falkland Islands and heading north to Argentina and Brazil.
Upwind for them after Cape Horn. So we don't actually have the teams yet on LiveX, but we do have Adil Khalid, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, standing by on a Skype, I think. Are you there with us, Adil? There we go. Hello.
Yeah.
And welcome.
Hello.
I'm sure you're sad not to be out there, but how are you feeling about your team in second place as they near Cape Horn?
They're doing very well, and I'm so happy. I'm so proud for the guys, and the country is proud from them. And I'm looking forward to join the team in Brazil and to do the next leg from Brazil to Newport.
Where are you currently, Adil?
I'm in Siribanias in the island, training hard, focusing in the sailing and getting strong to get back in the boat, and looking forward to go and join the team.
Fair enough. Well, I'm sure they're missing you. It's been a tough Southern Ocean, and it's not quite done, as Knut was just saying. If we could pass on some words from you to them, what would you like to say?
They're doing very well, and for sure it was a hard and fast race for 550 miles a day. They're doing very good. I'm proud. I remember this race last time around it, and it was really hard for us. And this time around we're doing very well, and everyone is happy up here, and I'm happy, and I'm looking forward to be there. And I feel sorry to not be there, and For sure, I'd love to be there.
But I'm sure
with
they'll
the
be
guys.
happy to have you get back on. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Adil, and good luck in the next leg when you rejoin the race.
Thank you.
It sounds like we do now have Team Alvi Medica on board a LiveX. Yes, you can see orange vests. Charlie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Wow, amazing. And huge congratulations to you for approaching Cape Horn in the lead. You said you've been dreaming about this moment. In your dreams, were you actually winning the race?
I've talked a little bit about it before. For me, most of this race is about competition, but this leg's a little bit different. It's the Everest of the race. It's a personal proving ground. It's everything people make it out to be. So yeah, this is pretty special for us. And to have Abu Dhabi, who you can probably see in the background, makes it pretty pressing here.
Amazing. How is the team doing? I mean, it's your first time in the Southern Ocean. It's your first time around, but you're not the only one. There's 6 of you on board who are newbies to round Cape Horn. But it seems like obviously everything's going together perfectly for you.
I don't know about perfectly. I think just given the nature of the leg, everyone's got their trials and tribulations. But the squad's done an amazing job. We're bigger than just the sum of our parts, that's for sure. Everybody really stepped up, and we looked to leadership from the guys that have been here before, and it's all come good for us for now.
Hi Charlie, this is Knut here. How has match racing going? I mean, how many times have you guys been jibing? It must have been pretty stressful to have all these jibe duels the whole night.
Hey Knut, how are you? Yeah, we did 14 jibes the other day, and I got an email from someone off the boat saying, "Wow, it's great watching you guys jibe down the exclusion zone." I said, "Well, at least it's fun to watch." Each of those jibes takes the better part of an hour. It's been a lot of hard work, not a lot of sleep. To be honest, it was nice just to go straight 30 to 35 knots for a couple of days instead of having to turn the boat. But I don't know if you can see them, but Abu Dhabi is well within sight, so the match racing continues, and 2,000 more miles in this leg, so I've got to put the hammer down and continue to focus.
And apart from celebrating crossing Cape Horn, what is the next big move for you guys after you go get east of Cape Horn? What is the next big decision?
Well, there's a massive transition between the breeze that we're in right now and a northwesterly coming through the strait. So there's a miniature secondary low forming off this front that we've been following all the way across. That's going to make the transition pretty difficult. So trying to make sure we have the right sails up at the right time and see if we can get a jump. But it's going to be a really tricky next couple hours, so not too much time for celebration. That'll probably have to come after with some reflection.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like you guys are going to get the break before you get to the Falkland Islands, huh?
Negative. No rest for anyone on board for the next couple hours, that's for sure. Once we're upwind, settled on port tack, maybe back into some normal sleep patterns. But until then, it's the match racing continues.
No rest for the weary, Charlie. Okay, last question for you. You said the Southern Ocean, the other legs are about racing. The Southern Ocean is about proving something to yourselves. What do you feel like you guys have proved here?
In a weird way, we've always spoke about our strengths as a team being stability sailing and, not knowing what I don't really know. I said it seems like we're more prepared for the Southern Ocean just with the big breeze downwind, stacking one spot, rotating two drivers, and, we're pretty quick down here, so, conditions I guess we got to be respected in, but 2,500 miles to go, so plenty of racing and plenty of other conditions, and we got to keep focusing and working on our different skill sets. So,
how proud have you been of the team for doing so well in the Southern Ocean?
Oh, the team's been absolutely amazing. This is the kind of weather and the kind of conditions that can bring people apart, and just as a group of individuals, if you looked on paper, I don't think anyone would have picked us to get here first, but it's because of the team that we are here, and everybody's been getting on well, and everybody's stepped up to the plate. It's quite nice.
Looks a bit like the Love Boat in the background there, Charlie. The guys are hugging and kissing behind you. Not kissing, but hugging.
Yeah.
Well, send a big wave to them.
I don't think they'd be hugging and kissing if I was back there.
A huge congratulations from us here in the office. as you guys approach Cape Horn in the lead. Really, really proud of all of you on board Team Medica. All of us
well
here
done, guys.
I just want to say thanks to my mom, who's probably had a lot of sleepless nights watching this boat traverse the Southern Pacific. So we're kind of here at that part that I know has been scaring you. So keep your chin up. I love you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, Mom.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Thanks, Charlie. That was to Mrs. Enright, obviously.
Both of Mrs. Enright's.
Both his wife and his mother.
There you go.
Bye, Charlie. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Wow. Incredible. Incredible. And as you can see, still very, very windy as they're rounding, but calmed down a bit after the jibe. And I think calmed down a bit in terms of the scare. They were between here and there. They were saying so many jibes. They weren't quite sure. The breeze is only building all the time as the storm gets towards them. And it is just that idea of this monument, this Mount Everest for sailing, the fact that, fingers crossed, we haven't rounded it yet. You could hear that a little bit, but nice to hear he thinks they're okay to his mom and his family. This is how close they are at this moment to Cape Horn. Tell us a little bit about your experience with Medica. I mean, Charlie Enright and Mark Towell, they are first-timers. What was it like when you first met them and they had this big dream to one day be able to round Cape Horn in the Volvo?
Yeah, no, I first met them during the last race when they came to me and sort of said they had a dream about doing this race, and they had this project behind them with the morning light. They had done some few transpacks, and I think what it struck me when I met them the first time was that they had a pretty balanced view about it. I mean, there's a lot of people who dream about doing these things, but you realize quickly that they don't really have a clue about what this is all about, and it's not really about the day to day. It's about how to get there, it's how to get to the start line. It's a lot of hard work, and I think those two guys, they realized it. So they've done an amazing job. It's been great to follow them, and what I really think is fantastic is to see how a bunch of pretty young crew members gathering the right expertise in the team and experience and learning so quickly. Because this race, I mean, I think from the moment they started the race in Alicante to where they are today, they're probably made 300% improvements and learning so fast, and also this new race with so close racing and one design boats, it opens up the world for learning fast, because they have so much opportunity to benchmark themselves to the other boats in the fleet. So no, I'm incredibly proud of them, and it's great to see, and I hope they are big role models for a lot of other young sailors who realize that it is possible to challenge the establishment, in offshore racing.
It takes a lot of hard work, but it is doable. We actually got in a great boat feed earlier today from Medica, and especially Will Oxley, their navigator, who has been around, who's sort of their role model on board for those guys. But let's take a look at it.
When we set out to do this, this is what you think about. When you think about the Volvo Ocean Race, we've done 4 light air legs, and now we've done 2/3 of a pretty, grueling Southern Ocean leg, starting to finally feel like the Volvo. So, it's a very iconic landmark. It's something that we've, been thinking about for a really long time. It's been a dream of ours. I mean, a lot of this race is about competition, but the Southern Ocean is about kind of proving something to yourself, and that's something that we've been looking to do here for a while. So the anticipation is mounting. We've still got 24 hours to go, but we're really excited to do it around 4 other close competitors is also pretty amazing. So it'll be something for sure.
For me personally, getting to the Horn has been taken a long time. I've tried to do it twice now, this being the 3rd time. The first time I missed due to a boat breakage, and the second time due to an illness. It's always something I've wanted to do. I think every New Zealander's watched the likes of Steinlager, Endeavour, even Camper sail around the Horn. So for me, it's always been something that I've wanted to do since I started sailing. Another way, I guess it'd be pretty surreal to be first round in the fleet. That would also be, a highlight. I didn't expect us to I should have expected us to be leading, but I didn't, and we've done a good job. It's been pretty cool to be in the front of the pack for 2 weeks now, almost in quite testing conditions for the boats. Definitely, if we could make it round first, that would be a lasting memory for sure, even more so.
It was good to hear all of the impressions, especially Ryan Houston, who's tried. A couple of the guys on multiple teams have tried to make it around and haven't actually made it around. I mean, it's iconic for multiple reasons, one of which is just that it's a hard thing to get around because of the conditions. And part of that Southern Ocean conditions is icebergs. We've put ice limits in place here, this leg at least, to keep them out of that. But talk us through that. What is the reasoning behind the ice limits?
Well, it's an interesting one. I mean, when I was racing back in the 90s, you know, we had no ice limits, and the main reason for that was that we had no information. The race organizers had no clue, and they were sending us down, and we had an open race course, and we had a lot of ice, and experienced that all the time, which is, in one way, it's such amazing experiences to see these amazing icebergs. But at the same time, if you could choose as a sailor, you would always choose to not have them in front of you, you know, and not have them nearby.
The danger of hitting it, especially at night, would be.
So today we have more technology. This is actually the boat I raced on, and we were sailing, as you can see, slalom between icebergs in 2002. And it's nice in daytime when you can see them in conditions like this, but you know, at nighttime you have no idea. So what we do today is that we get satellite imagery and scans which can identify big icebergs. And then our philosophy in the Volvo Ocean Race today is that as long as we identify icebergs in their path, we create an ice limit that just takes them out of that. It doesn't mean that they won't see ice, because small icebergs, like we see on the video here, you know, you would never be able to detect from a satellite. I mean, the smallest ones we are detecting are between 50 and 100 meters wide. That's massive pieces of ice. So anything as small as a truck or a car, we won't be able to see. So we keep them away from known ice, bigger than 100 meters, basically, 50 to 100 meters. And if we don't see anything, we let them sail there. But that's also seen from the satellite.
But also this leg, we actually saw them go further south than they've sailed since about 2001, is that correct? So even at the end, we had ice limits in place, but we were still worried that they might see some as they kept diving south, because it was colder and colder.
Yeah, that also depends on the weather scenario. So I mean, even now in the last 3 days, we could have seen them going much further south than they actually did. But it was more the weather scenario now that made them sail straight east as soon as they hooked into a new breeze. So yes, they had the possibility to actually go all the way down to 60 degrees now before the Cape Horn, but they didn't choose to, basically based on the weather.
What is it like seeing those icebergs in person? I mean, that just, to me, looks phenomenal.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've seen some ice in the races I've done, and in one way it's fascinating. When you see them, you shiver, and you can feel the blood is sort of getting colder through your veins, you know, because you know how incredibly disastrous it would be to hit one of them. And at the same time, they're beautiful, and they light up, you know, and when you can see them, it's really, really exciting. And you also realize when you see an iceberg that this is something very few people in the world will have a chance to see.
Right.
You know, it's an experience that you will never forget.
And yet it's good that we get to keep them away from that experience. In terms of safety, it's a much safer race now with the ability to see from satellite images. Let's take a look now at how close they are to, essentially, these ice limits. The orange line at the bottom of the screen is our ice limits, and they were moved a couple of times this leg.
Yes, we moved them a couple of times, and why we do that is that we did some continuous scans after they left New Zealand, and the reason is that the icebergs actually move with quite some speed. Depending on the current, they can move, you know, 25, 30 nautical miles in a day, drifting with the current, the ocean currents and the wind. So you could risk that you scan the ocean and you find a picture where you find an iceberg, but by the time the boats get there, that iceberg might be out of the picture or not in the picture. So we wait with the scans for the eastern part of the route till they are actually halfway. And then we gave ourselves a window so we could change the ice limit when they had a still 30 degrees longitude or 1,000 miles approximately left to that point we changed. So we made a couple of changes during the leg just to make sure that new ice that was detected was also covered by the ice limit.
And then the timing was to give them enough time to navigate around it,
Exactly.
keep racing properly.
Exactly.
You could see the mountain in our ice limit. Essentially, the current was actually going north, which was interesting for us to think.
Exactly, and here we see Abu Dhabi doing 25 knots boat speed, Albumerica 21 knots. It's a nice way to round Cape Horn, you know, with that kind of speed.
full speed. As we said earlier, Abu Dhabi just got the 550
551.
24-hour record, 551. We're hoping to speak with them soon. We just got a deal on the line. And I think we heard from Ian earlier today that he was expecting to be in first place essentially after the jibe. So we know originally they were holding off a bit, all of the teams holding off a bit because it was just getting gnarlier and windier, and the last thing you want to do is have a breakdown like we have with Dongfang. And the interesting part with Dongfang is they were holding back almost the most. We saw them dropping miles every sked to the teams in front. So what do you think that reasoning is? Were they just a little bit, I mean, they were the team that broke in the end. It's very
it's impossible to know. I mean, it's way too early to say anything about it. And before the damage has been assessed by experts who have actually looked into the pieces, hopefully they have recovered all the pieces, because that means that the manufacturer can do a detailed analysis of that. But it's too early to say, unfortunately, why it happened. And it can be quite a few things that can have gone wrong. It can be material failure, it can be other things. But obviously, it's not a nice thing to happen. But what we can be very pleased about is that if and when it happened so close to land. And here you see the whole standing rigging, which is missing on starboard side of the rig.
All the spreader
which you can just imagine if they jibe there or tack there, they would basically lose the whole mast.
You know what's interesting as well is Dongfang was one of the teams that had this Chinese jibe, the accidental jibe the other night, and they came up afterwards saying they were lucky that nothing had happened and nothing had broken. But you just have to wonder a little bit if maybe there was some extra strain on the rig that night from that maneuver that
yes,
could have been.
In theory you're right, but then, the rig should handle that. So the safety margins on this equipment should be much higher than that, and is higher than that. So there can be a lot of other things, and it's too early to draw any conclusions on it.
Yeah, and as we said, now they're doing 9 knots towards Ushuaia, so
yes.
Ushuaia.
Ushuaia, yes.
Doing well. We could take a look back though at these Chinese jibes. The maneuver there, as you said, it shouldn't break the boat, but it isn't pleasant. For any of them, it's not something they want to do. And the fact that 3 teams had accidental jibes overnight. Abu Dhabi just had a wipeout in a jibe, but here's Mapfre. Theirs was during the daytime. Rob Krenoff on the helm, and you can see main trimmer just grinding the main sheet in as it went so that it did hold the rig, essentially because the runner's not on there, so you've got to protect the rig by going main on instantly. And it takes a while to clean up after this. I mean, the keel is now on the wrong side, the boat's stuck in the water. Obviously got to get everyone up from down below. The stack's now on the wrong side, so everything on board is trying to keep the boat on its side instead of trying to right it, which was worse for the girls because it took them a while to get their keel back properly. But have you been in this scenario?
I have actually. It's not. It is dramatic, but not always as dramatic as one would think. It's more the fact that if you're not used to a boat laying flat sideways, you will be quite scared being on board there. And obviously, if it happens at night time, that's when it's really confusing because it's difficult to communicate and to know what's going on. But
to see what's happening, yeah.
What is good with these boats is that they have this hydraulic keel, which can very quickly sort of get swung to the right side, which helps you stability-wise. But it is very difficult, and you have to do things in the right order. And make sure you don't break more equipment than necessary. And I think Mapfre was very lucky in this situation. They didn't actually break anything.
Right.
But you can easily break a sail, for example, like Team SCA did, and that's very costly in a boat like this when you only have one of each sail.
Yeah, Mapfre, I think, was the quickest to recover from it. As we said, Abu Dhabi's was just a wipeout during a jibe, so jibe through and then wiped out on the other side. Mapfre was just coming down a wave, and Rob Krenoff said that his rudders went out and the boat just kept going with the wave and bore away accidentally. They did have a little repair to do to their fro, so they were sailing on the jib for a little while, but it was
exactly. Here you
20
see
minutes
them gluing the sail back, and that's it's better these days than what we had in the old days. We had to stitch the sails with sewing machines, and today they have all these new gluing materials, which is much more efficient because they can even work on wet sailcloth, which we couldn't do at all. But,
were you doing the sewing in your day?
I think I was more helping the sailmakers. I was not one of them, but there was a lot of sail making in the old days, I can tell you that.
This, I believe, is onboard Dongfang.
Look at that.
And it was nighttime as well, so as you said, scary because you can't even see or feel really what's happening.
Yeah, the boat is certainly laying very, very flat, that's for sure. So.
What's interesting with those guys, they were about to jibe, so they had everyone up already. So you can see Charles here and the navigator both in shot. I think it made it a bit easier and quicker to be able to right it afterwards, although right there they're still clearly sideways, standing on the boat sideways.
Yeah, you can imagine inside the boat, you have everything is flying around inside the boat. So unless you have stacked everything and locked everything down, things are going to fly out. And it's quite dangerous actually to be in the bunk sleeping when the boat does this, because this takes only a few seconds. And if you're asleep, you can fall from the weather bunk all the way down to leeward, and you can actually fall as much as 5 meters.
Oh God.
And land on some pretty hard carbon, which is one of the most dangerous things on the boat, is actually to get thrown out of the bunk. So in extreme conditions, quite a few of the sailors are actually lashing themselves to the bunk to have a safety, basically a seat belt, in the bunk to not get thrown out.
Well, and you can see on board Dongfang as well, they took on a lot of water. They said one of their vents to down below was open, and so I think the worst was it ruined 2 cameras for Jan, so their onboard reporter. The girls here, SCA, Sophie got thrown, just as you said, into the galley, and luckily for her, the carbon broke on the galley and not her back.
Yes.
This was Dee explaining the scenario afterwards, but a bit longer to repair on the girls on the SCA team, because their keel ram battery had been disconnected just about then to be fixed. So they were stuck in the water for almost 15 minutes before they then were able to get their keel back to the proper side.
And also the girls basically had a big breakage on their fractionals code 0, which is hurting them now. Because that is really the sail they needed all the way to Cape Horn. So they are sailing with a much smaller sail now than the other teams, and that's why they're slow and losing miles and ending up further behind.
So we have been telling you about this Cape Horn mission. I believe we now have Rick Deppy on the line from the lighthouse in Port Williams. Rick, can you hear us? Maybe actually a harder connection to get to land than it is to get to the boats.
Yeah, it looks like it.
They're in the southernmost lighthouse in the world, a lighthouse at Port Williams. We will try to catch back up with him if the connection gets better. But what we've got there, Rick Deppy on land from the lighthouse. We've got Rick Tomlinson, a photographer, and Matt Connors, a videographer, both in the air in a helicopter. And it's been quite an intense mission to get there, to get the boats, and to get them, fingers crossed, in daylight, which is essentially what we're having now. These are some shots just around.
Yeah, this is from Port Williams. I've actually been there myself. It's the world's most southern yacht club or sailing club on this ship, and a lot of famous sailors have been through there and signed the bar and hang up their flag from their boats. We have Rick Tomlinson there, the photographer from Team SCA, and the guys are here discussing, how they're going to cover this, and why it's so difficult to cover the boats is that, Cape Horn. Why Cape Horn is so well known is because it has so dramatic weather. When you can have blue sky and sunshine, and in a few hours later it's blowing like crazy and you can't see anything. And that was the challenge with the helicopter. We had to get the helicopter out to Port Williams, which is even further south and as south as you can get, and then from Port Williams fly out to Cape Horn. But then they needed to drop fuel to have enough fuel to fly to all the boats, and because of the weather changing so quickly, they actually didn't manage to do fuel drops. So it is very complex, and then we have to hope the fleet rounds Cape Horn in daylight, which they now did.
Luckily did, yeah.
And then to get this footage, we hopefully now will see very soon from the helicopter and from land.
But it is basically, the sailors call it the Mount Everest of sailing, and it's for all of the reasons you've explained. It's not an easy task.
No, it isn't. It's a very special place to go around, and I think what makes Cape Horn special is not necessarily Cape Horn itself, it's the fact that you have just finished your worst nightmare, because the whole racing from New Zealand to Cape Horn is fantastic, but you never relax. You're always on the edge, and you know that if something goes wrong, you're on your own. And that's when you get past Cape Horn, you kind of get back to the world. You have Chile, Argentina, Brazil. There is someone nearby, at least within 1,000 miles. There's a Coast Guard or a Navy, but before you get to Cape Horn, there is no one.
It sounds like we now have Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing on a live X. We are trying to speak with the second place team as they round Cape Horn, and we can see you on board. Ian, are you with us?
Hello?
Uh-oh. Ian, can you hear us? It's Genny and Knut from Race Control.
Hello?
Ian, Genny Tulloch from Race Control. Are you getting us?
Can you hear me?
Amazing. Yes, we're hearing you just fine. Congratulations, rounding Cape Horn second place.
Hi, Genny.
How are you feeling?
Hi, Genny. I got you. Oh, great feeling on board. Really good feeling. We've we've been absolutely thrashing the boat, worked very hard to try and break the 24-hour run. That's been our main objective the last couple of days. And that's brought us right up with the leaders. We can see Alva Medica, they're a couple of miles in front of us. By the time they've jived down, they'll be just a couple of miles from us. So, yeah, Cape Horn, he's right here on our left. Never seen it before. Don't know if I'll see it again, but just got it peeking out the clouds on the left-hand side, about 8 miles away.
That's incredible. And a huge achievement for you, your second time around. You said you didn't see it the first time. What does it mean personally to get around it twice?
I think just happy to get here safely, you know, just that's the main thing. Just, you know, we've come all this way, get around here safely, and we're back in the Atlantic. Still got a long way to go, but it's a big relief, and it's an even better feeling because we're in such good shape in the race.
Can you talk to us a bit about the tight racing so far? I mean, it's absolutely incredible, the racing you guys have had.
Yeah, it's been really close. I mean, we had a good start early on. Obviously, Brunel got away, but we got back into them, and then we just had a really dose of the slows at a terrible period where we just got flushed by Alva Medica particularly were going well. And then as the breeze got up, we got better and better, and then in the last 2 days where it's been windy, we did very well hanging on to the big chute. Everybody else changed. We held the big chute for about 10 hours longer than everybody else had got to Lourdes, and then that set us up for a very fast 24-hour run. So yeah, like I say, we can see Alva Medica, and I mean, there's going to be light winds in probably about 2 hours time, so I imagine we'll all be parked up next to each other again very soon.
Fair enough. I told you we had Knut here on the line. We also have a very special guest. I believe, if you can hear us, we've got Adil on Skype trying to speak with you. Adil, are you there?
Hi Ian, how are you?
Hey Adil, very good, thanks. Great to hear from you, mate.
How's the team? You're doing very well, and everyone is happy.
Johnny wants to know where you are.
I'm in Sir Benias Island training, getting ready for Brazil.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Adil.
And I'm watching you guys in the tracker. You're doing very well, and I'll hope to see you soon.
Good stuff. It's been
There's quite a long delay, so I think you guys are
mate,
struggling with each other.
We're looking forward to having you back. Looking forward to having you back, Adil. We just it's a bit cold out here for you, Adil. All right, mate, get in the gym.
I will do so, and I will see you soon.
Oh, incredible. Some good joshing there. Okay, I'll let Knut have you for a second, and then we'll let you go. I'm sure it's quite intense sailing down there.
Well, congratulations, Ian, with rounding second is Knut there. What's the next big move for you guys? How is it looking? I mean, it's still some tough northerlies, no, coming after the Horn.
Yeah, hi Knut. We're just actually setting up a peel right now. We're going to peel back to the A3. Wind's going to drop as we get to the Horn, so we've got everything going on here. We've got live X, we've got the cigars coming out, we've got the A3 being set up, and we've also got a jibe in about 40 minutes to get round the rock. So lots going on, and then obviously, as you know, the big decision inside or outside Staten Island. So the moment it's shaping up to go inside so that we're upwind in the new breeze, as you say. We're going to have a pretty brisk, cold northerly to test us when we get through the straits. And we've got a helicopter here now as well. First sight of somebody other than a boat.
They might actually be interfering with our connection to Ian. Ian, if you can still hear us, we'll just try to get. Actually, can you say something if you're still hearing us? Otherwise, I think we've lost your audio.
He's waving to the helicopter.
So much interaction at once. People on land and a helicopter. I do think we've probably just lost that live X. Great to see that the helicopter made it though. the mission
that is a
reset?
big relief for me. That's one of the few things I have to worry about, apart from all these boats. But you know, we've been spending a couple of weeks working on that helicopter, and it's not easy. There's not a lot of helicopters down there actually, so we had to move that helicopter in steps and legs getting down there. So to see that they actually made it, you know, and to time it as well, it's not easy.
It's difficult to ask.
We have had planes in Cape Horn in the past, but to have a helicopter obviously gives you fantastic footage, and we have that special camera hanging under the helicopter to do much better filming. So it's the first time we've had a helicopter in Cape Horn.
Yeah, we sort of had the plane as a backup in case it was not daylight, and then they'd have to keep going and get around and catch them later. But yeah, this will be, fingers crossed, we'll get that footage out to you tomorrow as soon as we get it. Essentially, we'll be pushing it on all of our platforms, expecting it to be incredible. And of course, the onboard footage from the teams as they're around in Cape Horn. Great to see land again after so many days at
Absolutely.
sea. So tell us a little bit about this tradition, as Ian just said, the celebration as you round.
Yeah, celebration. I mean, the celebration around Cape Horn is kind of it's not the same as King Neptune and the Equator, that's for sure. But it's really to celebrate that, you know, we made it. We made it, and I don't know where the cigar comes from, but some teams tend to use a cigar for it. When the last race I did in 2005-06 with the Brazilians, they had a bottle of cachaça, this terrible alcohol they have in Brazil. That suddenly came up that I had no idea was on board, but that came up and they were celebrating and I remember
it's poured in the ocean, right?
Yeah. And there is a famous club, but still very much alive, which is called the Cape Horner Club or the Cape Horners. And to be a member of that club, you had to carry mail around Cape Horn. So actually the first boat in the Whitbread races, they actually carried mail. Today they're way too weight conscious to bring any letters with them.
And emails don't count.
And emails, well, maybe it counts, I'm not sure, but that would be the modern version of Cape Horn Club. But it is a very, very special moment. And I think one thing that I always remember of it is that you sort of, your shoulders just drop 1 inch, you know. It's still tough conditions later, but just the feeling of having made it, it's such an extreme, strong feeling. And just seeing land and knowing that landmark, how many sailing ships have crashed onto those rocks. And you realize why, because if the wind changes direction, you know, if it goes any more southerly when you are close and these old ships couldn't even go upwind, you game over.
Yeah.
You know, you're into some cliffs that are terrible.
It's not.
My
It's a graveyard
faces.
for some sailing boats. I think we have some footage of Cape Horn routings through the past. We'll try to see if we can dig those up. But as you've said, cigars, celebration on deck.
Yes, absolutely. But I think, I mean, what I've never done in my life and seen ever is 4 boats, you know, within half an hour like we have now. I mean, they have so close racing. Ian was speaking to us and he said that, you know, we are just going to peel to the A3. And you looked at the conditions, they were doing 25 knots boat speed. And the only thing he was thinking about was to get the bigger sail up.
Yeah.
Because he cannot lose a single inch to Alba Medica. And that's not normally the usual thinking you have around Cape Horn, because normally when the fleet gets to Cape Horn, they're quite spread out, you know, and you always have some kind of margin. But here we have the whole fleet packed together, and every inch counts.
Well, the whole fleet packed together. The one team lagging just a bit, Team SCA, and we actually have navigator Libby Greenoff. She was talking about battening down the hatches and this speed versus safety. As you said, there's a storm on the way behind them. Let's hear it straight from Libby.
We've got a building breeze, so really strategically for us it's about getting our sail changes at the right point and making sure we get safely through the jibes, because the breeze is likely to pick up to a good 30 knots solid, and we're looking at some squalls with gusts of sort of 45-50 potentially in there. So to some extent at points it's probably going to be about battening down the hatches and being a bit survival, but for us it's about getting to Cape Horn with all of our sails. We are technically -1 at the moment, which changes some of the angles that we can do, but with the breeze picking up, I think we'll be on our smaller sails anyway, so the window to use the throw has gone for us.
It is still a scary outlook for the future. This
It is tough
low.
for Team SCA, because they are going to get, you know, further into the system, and this big low pressure system feeding in from behind. They're going to get bigger waves. They're going to get much stronger wind. And in one way, as crazy as it sounds, you want to sail as fast as you possibly can in those situations to get ahead of the systems. And that's what the first 5 boats did manage to just have a very high average speed and stay ahead of the weather system.
Yeah.
Because the weather system travels, you know, easily with 20-30 knots of speed in those areas, and it grows quickly, this big low. So
But as you said, the girls lost their fro in their accidental jibe the other night. They had actually wiped out twice. They had dropped their fro into the water in one of those wipeouts, and then essentially they were bearing away trying to get the fro back on board and bore away too much in a big wave, and then had their jibe. So it was just this combination of factors that ended up being a really bad scenario for them. Sam said the only good thing about the accidental wipeout was they got the fro back on board because it was not a windward. She was like, and everything else was horrible. But since then, not having the fro has meant they've had to sail sort of different angles, slower.
Yep. Yeah, and the fro, for those who don't know what that is obviously this fractional gennaker, basically a code 0 that goes not all the way to the top of the mast, but it's the most used sail on board when they go really fast in 25 to 35 knots of wind speed. So very, very important sail, and it's actually the fast gear on these boats.
Yeah, it's the one you keep in the arsenal. So we saw the helicopter. We do have Rick Depp back in the lighthouse, and hopefully on a better connection this time. Let's see, there we go. There's Rick. How are you? Tell us how it is down there, Port Williams, sort of the bottom of the earth, the edge of the world.
Jenny, we're not at Port Williams. We're actually on Cabo de Hornos. We're on Cape Horn, the southernmost point. Yeah, the southernmost point of the Americas. And it's just incredible. I'm up in the lighthouse, as you can see now. It's not really where the light is, but it's more of a 360-degree viewing platform. Behind me, there's a massive rainstorm just come in, and I could see Alva Medica. I was out on the point before watching the helicopter take off. Unbelievable. It's so wild that you would not believe it.
Tell us a bit more about how you guys have actually been able to be in touch with us to get the helicopter out to properly be on time to actually get these guys during daylight.
Okay, well, I'm using a BGAN system. It's provided to us by Inmarsat. Maybe you can see it there. I'm pointing it through the window. Now, this is basically the same piece of equipment that they have on board the yachts, but on the yachts it's inside the protective dome that you see on the back. So, same basic piece of equipment. Except I'm inside a lighthouse for protection. There's no way I could have it out on the deck here today because it's just absolutely howling.
On board, they actually have the Cobham domes that does that for them, which have swivels inside, which keep them pointed at the antennas in the satellites in the sky all the time. What's been the toughest part of this mission so far for you?
Well, other than all the normal stuff, this is really at the end of the earth. It's London, Madrid, Santiago, Punta Arenas, Puerto Williams, and then one day of sort of staging ourselves in Puerto Williams, getting all the gear together. And then it was a 70-mile helicopter ride out this morning. And we've had to, they've dropped me off on the island here, and the helicopter's been shuttling back and forth, picking up extra fuel so that Matt, the aerial cameraman, and Rick Tomlinson can get extra range out to sea.
And so now
it's been a bit of an epic, and I even took a little bit of a tumble. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you telling the stories of all of the Chinese jibes and everybody taking a tumble, and I think the worst part for me today was literally when I climbed out of the helicopter, I got blown over by the wind, and I think I've got a huge knot on my back. I think I'm going to have a hell of a bruise tomorrow. And that was the first camera destroyed.
So tell us a bit more about the lighthouse. Knut's been there as well. There's logbooks there. There's a lighthouse keeper and a family. What's it like?
Well, yeah, there's a full family here. The Manuel is the commandant of the lighthouse. He came out to meet us. Lovely guy. He lives here with his family and 2 children. In fact, the child, one of the elder child of the commandant of the lighthouse, he's the immigration officer, and we were able to get Cape Horn stamped in our passports. So that's a great little badge of honor to have. I haven't had a chance to look at the logbooks yet because I've been literally running from end to end of the building, trying to shoot the helicopter, trying to set this call up. We were in the chapel with Rick Tomlinson. Rick left a signed book here in commemoration of Magnus Olsen. So we've been very busy in the hour I've been here.
And it sounds like you'll be busy as well tomorrow with the helicopter following Dongfeng Race Team as they get towards Ushuaia.
Yeah, we went to bed last night thinking we were, that this was it. And I said to the guys, I said, don't get complacent because this is the Volvo and something always happens. And of course, we woke up at 6 o'clock to terrible news for Dongfang. But gladly they're all safe and hopefully we'll be able to connect with them in the next day or two.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, Rick. Best of luck down there with the rest of the mission.
No problem, thank you, and good luck with the show. I can see Albabetica just appearing. You won't be able to see them, but I can see them appearing out of the rain cloud back there. I think.
Very cool.
Maybe I can. Maybe that's an Albabetica.
I'm pretty sure it's probably Albabetica. Excellent. Thanks so much, Rick. Well, Knut, tell us about it. You said you were down there as well. What were you doing down there? Not on a boat.
No, well, I was on a boat. Actually, we were going an expedition down to Antarctica quite a few years ago. So I stopped at Cape Horn, and as Rick's saying, it's a remarkable place. I mean, just to live out there. It's actually a lot of mines there as well. I mean, this has been an area, a bit of conflict between Chile and Argentina, and there's no way to land. There's no dock. Nothing. So the only way to get there is a little rocky beach that you can approach unless you have an easterly or northerly wind direction. And then you can get in there with a ribbon and rush with your little rubber dinghy up on the rocks before a wave catches it, and then you walk up to the lighthouse where they have this fantastic symbol of a big albatross, which is very famous. So a remarkable place. And when I went there, they had a little logbook where they had actually written down the passing of all these different boats that are around the Cape Horn. And in our race, a lot of them have. But in these days, there's not so much commercial traffic anymore. Because that's all the Panama Canal solving that. So very remarkable place and such a dramatic place weather-wise.
And as you said, sailors have gone through there frequently. I think we have heard Stan Honey is down there as well just now on the pelagic expedition. He was navigator, of course, for ABN AMRO 1 when they won the Volvo Ocean Race. But I'm hearing we have Mapfre now on board on a Live X. Excellent. We've got Mapfre, and if we have Fran on,
Hello.
I'm going to ask you to clean your lens for us. Fran, doing very well. If you could give the lens a wipe, that would be amazing. We'd be able to see you a bit better. But congratulations as you're aiming towards and rounding Cape Horn. It looks like you're setting up for a jibe soon.
I love the way they use it.
Thank you very much.
Using the hands.
Yeah, the hand being the cleanest thing on the boat right now. Thanks, Fran. How's the mood on board? How are you guys doing? So many days in Southern Ocean, such cold conditions. But now it's almost like the light at the end of the tunnel as you head towards Cape Horn.
Wow, quite cold, quite windy, but we're very happy to be here. We're very happy where we are, and there is a lot to do. There's a lot of the leg that we have to sail, and the guys are pushing a lot. Right now we are in the middle of a driving maneuver, so as you see, everybody's pushing as much as they can, and of course, it's not an easy place to be, and it's not an easy place to sail, but these guys are giving the best of them to be where we are right now.
It looks like you're not even cold right now, though. You don't have gloves on those hands. It must be freezing.
Well, I was inside bailing and taking out the water, and I got the call from the watch producer, so I ran out as I was inside the boat. So yeah, I'm freezing my hands.
And you're one of the most experienced teams in terms of people on board who have rounded, we might be losing him a little bit, but rounded Cape Horn before. But yourself and Willy are newbies. What does it feel like to have this iconic scenario happening for you?
Well, it's beautiful out here. It looks scary, and it looks like a very remote place. But with all these guys, I feel safe. They sail the boat very good, and I think it's a unique experience for all of us. Not many people have the chance to be here, and actually it's a story that we will keep in our minds forever, and a lot of people will hear from this.
It looks like you guys are really busy getting set up for a jibe, but is there any chance we could speak with Iker or Javi?
No, right now it's possible. Everybody is all hands on deck. As you can see, it's actually it's not enough hands. We need more hands, but this is what it is. There are 8 and they have to sail the boat with 8 people, and that's the way they do it.
Fair
so
enough.
Impossible. Maybe later after the jibe, no problem.
Question for you, could you answer us in Spanish for our Spanish audience about what it feels like for you personally and for the team as you're getting out of the Southern Ocean, rounding Cape Horn and going forward?
Bueno, hola a todos, desde aquí, desde a bordo del Mapfre, estamos por cruzar el Cabo de Hornos. La verdad hay mucho deseo y muchas ganas, los chicos lo están dando todo y se nota que estamos felices de estar acá. Fueron unos días muy duros en el Pacífico Sur, mucho frío, mucho viento y bueno, es una alegría estar aquí. Sabemos que de este punto solo se puede poner mejor. Así que por suerte todos felices y todos contentos de que hoy estemos cruzando el Cabo de Hornos.
Excellent, thank you. I'm not quite sure what you said. My Spanish is only just getting there, living in Alicante, but thank you so much, Fran. Best of luck to your team. Looking forward to seeing you guys safely into the Atlantic Ocean.
Bye-bye.
Incredible that we were able to get them clearly very busy jibing, but at least still able to talk to the onboard reporter, and of course, he's quite happy to be down there for the first time. Francisco, they've had ups and downs, but having won the last leg and now having Iker back on board, I think it's kind of a renewed sense of fight on board that boat.
Absolutely. I mean, they had winning that last leg was a big boost for Team Mapfre, you know, and they clearly are now much stronger psychologically as well, because they were struggling in the beginning. But no, I think the race is not over, and what we keep sort of experiencing in the Volvo Ocean Race is obviously that this race will never be exactly like what you think it's going to be. So this is interesting. We might be able to have a live jibe here watching, you know, because and jibing these boats, as he said, you know, with only 8 people is really hard. You know that it's a big boat and the sails are big. I mean, it's a 65-foot racing machine, but it's very wide and very powerful. So it really has a much bigger rig than all traditional 65-foot boats. So you have, you know, one guy driving, and you need at least three guys grinding, and suddenly there's only 4 people left to trim all the sails and get everything around. So
get the new runners on to make sure the mast is
we
in
saw
place.
them during the interview. They're moving the sails down to lee where they have on the deck, so they have the weight set up already for the new jibe they're going to be after they have finished the jibe. So yeah, that is it is a really tough maneuver, and you have to get it right. And the key thing with these boats is that they need speed. If you try to do a slow maneuver, you can have a disastrous outcome and end up laying on the side. You need as much speed as you can going into the jibe, so you keep very high boat speed through the whole jibe. It's a bit like windsurfing, or you know, you need to be planing through the maneuver as much as you can, because more speed means less resistance in the system and in the sail. So now they go for it, and there we see the guys closest to us is grinding the mainsail. There they have the mainsail locked in the middle, and now they have to hurry up with the gennaker as much as they can. You see the helmsman there moving his head back to not get hit by the boom, and now they get the sail in, and they pump the keel up the weather side. Oh, they're struggling a little bit with the gennaker there. And this is a very critical moment, because now he's almost dead downwind, and he must be careful so he doesn't sail too low. He's giving the crew a bit of help here not to come up for speed too early.
So they can grind the big front
Exactly.
line.
This is where you have the beauty of the canting keel. It really helps you in the maneuver, because you can come out of the keel with the keel of the jibe with the keel all the way to weather. But if you come out too late or too early, you don't have the keel in the right position, and then you're in trouble.
That was actually really cool that we just got to watch that jibe live.
Yeah, that was a live jibe
in
the Southern Ocean. You don't have that every day.
Exactly, and it looks perfectly, like it was executed perfectly.
No, it looked very well, and they probably, what we couldn't see on the picture because the camera here is in the cockpit, is how the helmsman was timing that jibe with the waves, because you really need to find that perfect wave where you can go downhill in the jibe, and as you get further and further downhill, and when you have a really sort of good steep angle going downhill, you turn the boat, and then you stay in the surf as much as you can through the jibe.
The whole thing is a bit like surfing. You feel the boat lift up on the wave and everything unloads.
Absolutely, and it's much closer to dinghy racing and Olympic dinghy racing than it is to normal traditional big boat sailing. It is really a dinghy we're looking at here. It's a big 65-foot dinghy.
Which is great on this boat, especially when you have Iker and Javi, both Olympic medalists, in a very small dynamic boat. The skiff, which is just like that, has to be really finely jibed.
Exactly.
And incredible, we get these images through, as we were saying earlier, the Cobham domes, working with the Inmarsat satellites. So even though they're sort of in the furthest pole of the world, you could see there's a delay, but it's not that bad. It's about 5 to 10 seconds sometimes, and live pictures.
It's absolutely amazing. And when you watch that jibe and you realize that as Charlie on Albumedica told us just some minutes ago, that they did 14 of those jibes in a day, in the Southern Ocean the other day, and that's it is really tough. What we don't see, now we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So there's probably 2, or actually we see 7 and one of them is probably the OBR.
Oh, and the 8th is maybe hiding in here.
Yeah, exactly. So very soon, one of them or 2 of them will go downstairs, and they will be moving everything downstairs. They probably moved at least 50% of that before the jibe. But they have to come out of the jibe now with all the equipment downstairs on the other side, as far back as possible, to get sort of the weight trimmed perfectly for the boat speed. So,
and it's a funny scenario because it is it's easier to do before the jibe because you're throwing it downhill, and the more you save for after, the more you're actually fighting gravity to bring it up to the high side. But you obviously can't throw too much, or then you have no.
Absolutely. And you know what? One of the hardest things I remember from that situation is that you have all this equipment on. I mean, the guys have waterproof clothing now, top to bottom. They have underwear, mid layers, they have balaclavas, they have gloves, and all the safety harnesses and the safety equipment. And then they get downstairs, and the problem is to take it all off is too hard. It takes too long. So you have to move all this stuff downstairs with the gear on, and you sweat. You sweat like a pig. Yeah. And then when you sweat, you get out again, and you're wet inside, cold. And this constant change of sweat, cold, freezing, hot, all the time, it's really hard.
And they said the 14 jibes earlier. It looks like Francisco is maybe back in with the headset here. And we see Javi in front of him. Fran, can you hear us?
I have Iker.
You have Iker. Fabulous.
Yeah.
We'll take him. Thank you.
No? Iker, okay. Give me a second. I'll give you with Iker. Yeah.
No problem. I think Iker is actually driving as well, so we'll have a skipper driving in the Southern Ocean just after a jibe. And that's Javi, his teammate waving at us. Iker, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. We can see you're jibing, and you just finished a jibe in the Southern Ocean, but you're heading towards Cape Horn, and huge congratulations from our side, getting out of the Southern Ocean and towards the Atlantic. How does it feel on board your boat now and for you as a skipper?
Good. Everyone is in a good shape, which is the most important. I think probably that's one of the legs where you're gonna be always happy if you finish. No, doesn't matter where you are, and then obviously we are fighting to try to win the leg. So yeah, we are all happy and looking forward to cross. We have some little problems, and as I said, no, we are not as forward as we would like, but still a long way to arrive. We're gonna push hard for try to have what we want.
Can you talk to us about how close this racing has been? I mean, we saw a crossing between you and Albumedica 2 days ago. That was the closest, fastest crossing we have seen yet in this race. But it seems like it's just fighting tooth and nail right now between all of you guys at the front.
Yeah, that was very close. That was too close. And yeah, we were having some fun. We have to be careful with these machines. Yeah, no, but we really had some fun with the Albumedica guys, and now Brunel is just here next to us to cross the Cape.
You should repeat the fact that they
don't know who's gonna be crossing before, and yeah, it's extremely close. That's the reality. You know, after being right now a couple of days with strong winds, downwind, I think that we all gonna be in an hour time around in the Cape is pretty unbelievable. So yeah, we know every mile counts, and that's why we're pushing so hard. We are a little bit later because we decide to be a little bit more conservative, especially in a couple of pillings, and then we break a couple of little things that probably in some other conditions you would not even realize, but in here, I mean, we break our outhole. You have to stop a little bit. You're going very quick. lose 4 miles here, then we lost another 4 miles there, and that's it. No? That's from being super good to being third. So yeah, it's very nice. Well, we are enjoying a lot, and as I said, we are all happy because everyone is in a good shape. No one is injured, and the boat is in perfect conditions for the fight in this last part of the leg.
Well, it is unbelievable for us to be able to speak with you while you're driving there in the Southern Ocean. I mean, it's got to take so much concentration just to be driving, and the fact that you're able to answer these questions so calmly is incredible. Could you give us a couple words for the Spanish audience about essentially what you've just said, getting out of the Southern Ocean, how close the racing is, and coming up towards Cape Horn?
Bueno, pues la verdad que increíblemente cercano toda la flota, muy cercano todo el mundo. Tenemos a Brunel aquí al lado, no sé muy bien qué va a pasar antes el cabo. Albimédica ha estado delante, lo ha hecho un poquito mejor que los demás, pero vamos a pasar todos en 1 hora, ¿no? Con lo cual, bueno, pues estamos todos navegando a un gran nivel y los pequeños detalles son los que están marcando las diferencias. Por lo tanto, bueno, muy contentos, primero porque yo creo que esta es de las pocas etapas que siempre vas a estar contento si la acabas, pase lo que pase. Si la has acabado y está todo el mundo en buenas condiciones al llegar, ya es un gran triunfo, ¿no? Todavía queda mucho, pero ya el paso del Cabo Hornos es un gran triunfo. Y luego, bueno, hemos conseguido estar en el pelotón de cabeza, que era nuestro objetivo. Nos habría gustado estar un poquito más adelante, pero bueno, hemos tenido algunas pequeñas roturas y algunos pequeños detalles. 4 millas aquí, 4 millas allá, y bueno, pues por eso estamos un poquito más atrás que Albimédica, pero con ganas y con fuerzas para el último arreón, el último golpe que queda aquí, que son 1000 y pico millas, y podemos aspirar a todo.
Amazing, Iker, thank you so much. This is my final question for you. What boat speeds are you doing right now?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
I was asking how fast you're going right now.
Well, not very fast. After what we saw the last days, we're doing 20, 21 knots. Right now, 20 to 21. We are with the spinnaker now, and looks. I can tell you, looks pretty relaxed now. We've been facing the waves and going very fast. So now going 20 knots in this little couple of meters waves is pretty relaxing already. I have pain a little bit everywhere, but yeah, it's nice. It's gonna be my 5th time around this Cape, and I am a little bit tired, but I'm really enjoying the moment.
Well, we're really enjoying the moment as well, and I can believe you're tired, but I'm sure you guys are going to keep fighting hard and pushing hard. We'll let you go now, but just letting you know, thank you so much from here in Race Control. Incredible to be able to speak with you guys like this in such an iconic time.
Good. Thank you very much. See you.
Best of luck. See you. Wow. That's incredible.
That is incredible. I mean, I like the fact that the way he said we're just having a bit of relaxing time right now, and you see someone being interviewed while he's driving a boat, doing more than 20 knots of boat speed around Cape Horn. And look at that! Look at those pictures. I mean, for me, this is a bit like have an interview with Lewis Hamilton during the Formula One race, and just being able to have an interview and focus on that while you're actually driving the boat. But the funniest thing is that I know that these boats are really well balanced, so you can see how easy he's steering the boat just on his fingers.
Yeah.
So this is not the most difficult conditions to have wave-wise. It looks quite smooth, but obviously you see the wake and the thing, the ocean, the water passing the boat. This is going fast. I mean, you could be water skiing behind this boat easily. It's way too fast to go wakeboarding, and he's talking about how relaxing this is, and finally they can sort of breathe, and he's a bit tired,
And you wouldn't have even had any idea that he was driving there. I mean, it sounds like he could just be.
And it's quite one thing for these guys is that they have been driving so many hours, and it's a lot of routine for them, and it's a lot of reflexes.
Yeah.
So they can actually drive very fast these boats and still being able to do all the things and think and talk, because obviously they have a lot of reaction and just feeling in the hand.
It's incredible seeing them on a wave like that too. You've just got every now and then the waves. So the waves are longer swell periods down there in the Southern Ocean. They don't really hit land and stack up like that. So you just see them catch up onto one and then back down. And as you said, it's just reflexes for all of the guys on board these boats. They know how to ride up and onto it here and then bear away once they're with the speed. It's really absolutely incredible.
Yeah, now you see Xabi there. Xabi has taken his hood off and is starting to celebrate the sun coming out, east of Cape Horn, and looking forward to the warmer temperature. But
we might even be able to speak with Xabi. I think Francisco was just handing him the headset. Is that possible, Fran?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, no problem. Javi being Iker's longtime partner. Hello, Javi. Thank you for joining us. I was just saying it looked like you actually grabbed the headset, and so we'd love to hear from you as well. Congratulations as you're getting around Cape Horn. We can just see you waving. Oh, nice. Yeah. And Iker as well.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think we've got 20 miles to go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So it's been a good trip, I think, so far. The last 2 days pretty fast, and just a little, disappointing the last 12 hours, 15 hours. We've done a couple of mistakes, which put us a little bit behind of the Albimedic and Abu Dhabi, but it's okay. I think it's still plenty to go, so very happy to be here in one piece.
Fair enough. And I think for you, it's your 6th time around. Possibly 5 of those times have been with Iker. How does a relationship like that develop over such intense periods of time? I mean, the Southern Ocean is something that no one can really understand, but being able to go around something like that 5 times with one individual, that's got to be quite a relationship you've built.
Well, it's more than that. No, it's the last almost 20 years sailing together, 49 and offshore sailing as well. So of course we've done all together, and that's why we've been down here so many times together. No, it's very intense, as you say, because it's 6 times in 10 years, which is a very little amount of time, and it means way too much sailing. So hopefully we can have a break in the future.
Can you give us some words in Spanish for your audience at home? Just tell them what you're thinking about this and looking forward to Irajaí.
Sí, pues estamos aquí ahora menos de 20 millas para llegar ya al Cabo de Hornos, después de un viaje bastante duro, diría, desde Nueva Zelanda hasta aquí, ya que no solo por condiciones, sino también por estrategia y tácticamente hemos tenido que hacer pues unas 30 trasluchadas, maniobras que pues ha sido realmente agotador, y yo creo que hemos navegado a un nivel muy bueno. Hemos estado peleando por estar primeros todo el viaje, y lo único, un poquito pena, quizás las últimas 12 horas se nos han escapado los 2 primeros un poquito, pero por supuesto faltan 2000 millas todavía hasta Irajaí, y muy contentos de estar aquí de una pieza. El barco está entero, todos estamos bien, no hay ningún lesionado, nadie con dolor. Así que todo eso es muy positivo, y ahora la regata empieza otra vez, así que, como os digo, muy contento y espero que salga bien.
Amazing, Javi. Thank you so much. And of course, say congratulations to Willy as well for us on his first time around, and an incredible day for him as his father is finishing the Barcelona World Race today. So a really cool family relationship there also. Best of luck to you guys for the rest of this leg.
Do you want to talk?
Do we want to talk to Willy? We'd love to talk to Willy.
Do you want to talk to him?
Yes. If you can grab him, yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
Willy.
It is an incredible day for Willy with his father finishing the Barcelona World Race. Oh, does he not? Oh, we'll have to.
I don't think so.
Perfect. Do you know how many times his dad has been around the Horn?
No.
Willy Altadill being the youngest now on board Mapfre. We're trying to get him onto the line now.
Hi,
Willy,
Genny.
can you hear us? Yes. Hello. Congratulations on your first Cape Horn experience coming up. We were just talking about what a great day it is for the Altadill family with you rounding Cape Horn and your father finishing the Barcelona Round the World Race. So pretty incredible for your family and sailing today.
How they finished?
I think he's meant to be finishing today.
Good. Did they just finish?
Meant to be finishing today.
Okay, second, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In second position, right?
We'll send him your congratulations. I'm sure he's sending...
Yeah, I haven't spoken with him. Yeah.
But tell us about what it's like for you, your first time in the Southern Ocean, your first time around Cape Horn.
We've just seen the land like an hour ago, and it looks pretty cool. In half an hour, 1 hour, we're gonna go around the Horn now. I can see it right now, and it's really cool. It's been tough to get here. They don't give it to you, this Cape, but it's good. To be the first time.
You have to earn it, huh? Could you talk to us?
You have to earn it.
Willy, could you talk to us?
Hopefully there'll be a few more.
Hopefully you will have as many more as your dad, if not more than that. Could you give us some words in Catalan for the Catalan audience about what this rounding means to you, and also about how cool it is for your family to have these two big moments in one day?
Bueno, acabo de creuar, bueno, estem ara creuant en una hora, així creuarem el Cap. Ara fa una hora que l'hem vist. I, bueno, la veritat que molt content, és un Cap que no te'l regalen, que te l'has de guanyar. I bueno, el barco ha aguantat, encara ens queden unes milles per arribar a Brasil, però de moment estem molt ben situats a la regata i el barco està d'una peça, que és l'important per arribar aquí, que no és fàcil. Okay, happy with that?
Yeah, I'm sure that they will be happy with that. I'm not totally sure what you said, but yes. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Willy. We'll let you guys go, but congratulations on this huge achievement. People back here are very proud of you.
See you. Do you want to speak with anybody else?
No, I think we're good now. We've taken plenty of your team's time.
Okay.
Thanks so much, and thank Francisco for setting it up for us.
Okay. See you.
Cheers. See you.
Bye-bye.
I think now we actually have the voice of Sam Davies on board Team SCA. We're not able to get pictures with Sam, but we do have Sam on the line. Are you with us, Sam?
Yeah, I'm with you, Genny. Hi.
Hi. And I'll ask you, I guess, because it's easier than checking ourselves. How far are you guys now from Cape Horn? About a day out?
Yeah, I think so. We're 600 miles out. It's a bit more than a day at the moment because we're basically dead downwind, so we're doing a lot of zigzagging to get there. Unfortunately, we sort of got with missing our fractional sail, we got left behind a little bit and got overtaken by the front. And since then, we've had really tricky, very squally and dead downwind conditions, and we've been missing our broken sail a bit.
And we know
it's going to be.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, say again.
Oh, I was just saying. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So we'll be happy when we get there. But yeah, getting there is proving a bit of a mission right now.
So we know you're trying to outrun the low behind you as well. What are the conditions like currently, and what are you expecting over the next 24 hours?
Well, we're expecting building breeze. At the moment, I'm actually down below. The reason we can't get to you on video is because we've got some quite big electronic issues on board, and Libby and I are down below, spending all our time trying to fix that. Conditions, I was looking at the wind, we've got anything from 25 to 40 knots. It's really gusty and squally out on deck, and the sea state's pretty big. And we're just expecting that to increase over the next 24 hours, so it's going to get more and more fun, and that's fine. But last night I was driving through a massive black squall, and you could see absolutely nothing, and it was the wind came up to 35 knots, which is not too bad, but it was pitch black, and all I was concentrating on was our numbers that we're sailing to, so the heading and the wind angle, and then all of that froze up, which this is our issue we've got at the moment. There's some gremlin that we're trying to locate, and so basically then I'm sailing just blind, can't even see the bow of the boat, it's so dark and pouring with rain, and we're barreling down these waves. It's pretty scary, so our priority right now is literally trying to fix that, because once that happens once, then suddenly there's less volunteers to drive.
Wow, that's incredible. Are you guys taking any extra precautions with this low behind you? Is there anything different that you're doing for your sailing? Or are you just trying to get to Cape Horn as fast as possible?
I think, well, our mission from the start has always been that this bit's going to be tricky for us, and we always made the game plan that we get to Cape Horn in one piece, and then we start racing again properly. Not saying that we're not racing, but we're just we know that we've got to look after our boat and ourselves, and we pushed ourselves quite hard, and we found a couple of our limits earlier on in this lake, and yeah, we're missing the sail that could have really helped us quite a lot. So yes, now we can't take any more risks with the sails that are left, because we need them for the way up from Cape Horn up to Eta. So
right.
I guess ever since we broke our fractional, then yeah, we've been a bit more careful with remaining sails, and the remaining sails are trickier ones to use in these gusty, squally conditions, because either they're much bigger, or in the case of the J1, it's a bit more of a handful to get down when you get big pressure. So we've had a few frustrating moments where we would have liked to put bigger sail up, but then we haven't really got the one that works for us.
Fair enough. How do you feel the crew is doing? You guys have a lot of Southern Ocean newbies on board, but how do you think they're handling it in these conditions?
I think yeah, some of us have been here before and others haven't, and for sure it's a big voyage of discovery together. I think it's for those who've never been here before, they're realising, discovering what it's like, just the cold, the intensity, the fatigue.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Coupled with the fact that we're sailing the boat slightly differently to how we normally sail it, because we're limited by ourselves, and also by our limits that we put on ourselves to get to Cape Horn in one piece and not take any risks. And then those of us who've been there before, it's oh yeah, I remember this. This is what it's like, and we've had some amazing sailing and some just fantastic days down here that I think we'll remember for a long time to come. And we've also had some shockers and some scary moments, and like right now when we're just struggling to keep our instruments working at the moment. So and that's sort of our number one priority. So it's so cold. I've been sleeping in everything, and yeah, we're all freezing cold, and because we're having to, the route we're taking, we've done a lot of dives and a lot of manoeuvres, and occasionally trying to use the masthead instead of fractional. People have been up and down a lot, so we haven't had much sleep, and so obviously then that tiredness makes everything even more intense, I think.
Yeah, of course. I'll let you go after this then to get back to it, but the last question would be, do you have a reaction about Dongfeng Race Team and their mast breaking this morning?
Yeah, it was, we were really sad for the guys because they're having an amazing race. We've been watching in awe the race that's been going on in front of us. Slight jealousy as well, because they've been sailing in perfect conditions in front of the front, and we wish that we'd have been there. Not sure we'd have been able to keep up the pace that they've been going at, but for sure if we'd have been where they were, we'd have been going ourselves even more, I think. But yeah, it's a real shame for Charles and the crew, and I think for us it was just relief to hear that they're all okay, and to see that they're not far from where they can go in and take shelter and try and get themselves a jury rig or a way of getting to Eta in time, because obviously I guess this makes the next stopover a bit of a race against time to get back there. So I sent them an email to the boat when I heard, and to say that we were really sorry for them. And we also said to them that if they needed rescuing, we were behind them, but we were only going to take the good-looking ones
Oh, nice. Thank you, Sam, for ending that on a good note. Well, good luck to you guys. Fingers crossed nothing bad happens to you on your way around, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jenny.
Cheers.
I'm going to go back to fixing electronics.
Fair enough. Good luck. Always good humor from Sam. We'll help you, Dongfang, but only the cute ones. And I think you need that, right? In the Southern Ocean, you've got so much stress and mental, everything is difficult. You've got to just keep it light and lively. And speaking of light and lively, actually, we can throw this. We've sort of been waiting as to when to throw it, but a flying fish footage from onboard Dongfang. They basically said it's the biggest one they've ever seen here.
Actually, that can be quite dangerous. I was in a boat where one guy was that big.
It's not that big, but
it was a big forearm.
I think Kevin had it in his hand. I've never seen a flying fish that big. They tried to take out Pascal, but the fish took off. It was a massive flying fish.
Quick reaction there.
Yeah. Grabbed it and threw it off. I've been on a boat before where it landed in someone's safety harness and then was essentially stuck, like flopping around trying to, and so he got it out, and it was hot at night, sort of in a doldrums type experience, and it went through the vent of the boat and landed again, like unbelievable, but again on the bunk of someone sleeping down below, and it was just...
That has happened, I've seen that in 97. We had a really small flying fish that went through the hatch into the sleeping bag of a French sailor, Jacques Vincent, sleeping downstairs. And his immediate reaction, he woke up and he was absolutely certain that we had put it there on purpose because he was alive. So he went backstairs and started, strangling one of the Australian guys in the back of the boat, gym clothes. But it was actually flying there by itself.
Yeah. But some other cool wildlife down there, and especially I think the sailors always think about the albatrosses. They're Southern Ocean. They're meant to be sort of the souls of sailors lost at sea, which is a really cool way of thinking about it. And for Team SCA, they always mention their coach, Magnus Olsen, who we lost last year. But what are albatrosses like for you? I've never seen one in person, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, it's a couple of things with the albatross. One is that there is a sign of where you are, because they only live down there and in the Southern Ocean. And when you see the first albatross in the Atlantic, you kind of know that now I'm getting south. The other thing with albatrosses is that they just follow you, and they kind of sit for hours and hours and never land. They kind of always just fly and glide behind you, and they can follow you for a very long time. So, and then you have all these superstitious things about albatrosses, both positive and negative. It's the souls of the lost sailors, but also there's stories of capsized boats where the albatrosses actually eat the eyes of the people swimming in the water. So there's some dramatic negative ones as well.
Yeah.
But no, it's a special feeling, and I always remember we had albatrosses following us, and you name them after a while if it's been following you for a while.
Jens Dolmer on Brunel was actually naming them as well. Okay, and we have footage from Brunel right now, LiveX. Is that Bouwe? Can you hear us? Bouwe, can you hear us?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Well, doing very well. I think a bit warmer and probably drier than you are down there, but how are you?
Yeah, we're all right. It's been bloody nice sailing the last couple of days, so and exciting close racing as well. And the Horn is just on our side over here, so it's good to go up north now.
I have Knut with me, so I'll let him talk to you in a second. But my first question to you, as this is your 9th time around, are you crazy? Are you a bit mad? What keeps sending you down there?
I think all the guys who go around here are crazy. I did it, and it's not the 8th time, but you have to be a bit nuts for it. But it's a special place. It's nice to go around now and to leave the hard part behind. Although it looks like going up north doesn't look easy either. But luckily we haven't had big. We have pretty storms, which I'm really grateful for, because like last night we lost quite a bit because all our instruments broke down. And we had to drive with the spinnaker blind through the middle of the night, and so that was a bit scary. But that's what the Southern Ocean is known for, and the boys managed well.
Great, Bouwe. It's Knut there. Congratulations on getting to the Horn again. Tell me a little bit about the close racing. I mean, it's been we have never seen anything like this. We have 4 boats almost within sight of each other, and obviously normally if you were 20 miles away from a boat in previous races, you would feel that you were almost next to someone, and now it's that's the whole top fleet. How has the close racing been this time? Because that's different to what you've seen before, isn't it?
Well, I think first of all, the close racing, I think say something about the boats are getting pushed, because we've had to pedal down most of the time 100%. So like just last night we didn't have instruments, we had to really coast the boat and just play it easy, because it's not, you know yourself, it's not easy to drive in the big waves and no instruments. But in general, just the racing has been amazing, and you can just sometimes see one boat gets a bit more breeze and just goes half another and not faster, and then it comes and goes. But it has been really exciting, and as well to see that everybody making these big speeds and that the boats stay together. Of course, I feel really gutted for the Dongfeng guys, because they didn't deserve this. But we know it always is one of these things what can happen in this race, and you first have to finish to get to come on the podium. But my best wishes for them that they can get a spare rig in pretty soon the racetrack.
Fair enough. I think the Southern Hemisphere turned you upside down there, Bouwe. We have we have big waves here. Obviously, you're getting soaked in the back of the boat, but we just weren't seeing you under the deck there because you're upside down. Can you tell us a bit about how your newbies to the Cape Horn rounding have been doing in the Southern Ocean? How Rokas and Louis have taken this leg?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, how are your young guys doing in their first time in the Southern Ocean?
The first time around, Rokas actually has been, it's his third time already. 2 deliveries, crazy enough. Must be from Litouwen and there's some strange thing about it. So he's been here before.
Uh-oh, it seems like we're losing him. We're going to try to keep him on the line just for a little bit, in case the audio comes back.
It's hard to do an interview upside down, huh?
It is funny to do an interview upside down.
Yes.
You could see we were missing, that hatch cam has just gotten rotated somehow, and then the audio we lost at the end. But incredible, 9 times around the horn. I mean, really incredible. How many years of his life is that?
That's a lot of years, that's a lot of years. But I'm sure it's still an amazing experience for him to get around, and every time is probably different as well.
And such a positive attitude always with Bouwe. It seems like even they've been first or they've been fifth, he always keeps that mentality. Whereas with Ian, you feel the emotional roller coaster, I think, with Ian Williams, and with Charles especially. Like he's happy to hit things and has no problem showing the emotions. Bouwe shows his emotions, but it's always in this, like, not fatherly role, but a little bit of this, let's keep going, guys, we're hungry wolves, and good to hear.
And he loves, I mean, there's no secret and no doubt with Bouwe, he really loves the sailing. You know, I mean, he spoke about the last 2 days as amazing sailing.
Yeah.
You know, most people would say that this was scary and, you know, really, really dramatic conditions, and then thank God they got to Cape Horn. But for him, it was the word amazing was what he used to describe it, and I'm sure it is. It's I would have loved to be there for an hour or two.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and we can actually look back through the archive of some Cape Horn footage from the past. I'm not sure if we have footage of Bouwe, but here we do. We have footage of Cape Horn roundings. God, this is a close rounding actually here.
Yes. It's from the Whitbread days. You can see the aluminum booms. That was pre the Whitbread. Now we have Steinlager.
Were you ever this close?
Oh yeah, I've been close sometimes, very close.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Look at that, it's beautiful.
You can see though how in the wrong wind direction.
This was before the Whitbread days. This was the sailing ship days. I mean, you can imagine how tough it was because they couldn't go upwind, you know. So if they were unlucky and the wind direction changed, they were either blown to sea or to the rocks.
Into the rocks, yeah. Clipper ships.
And the clothing, you know, no waterproof, no real waterproof clothing, and that water is 5 degrees, 6 degrees warm, you know. Not many sails left up there. It looked like it was flogging a bit.
And we were talking earlier about the density, essentially, of cold air, how it's 30 knots with cold air can feel a bit more like 40 knots in the higher latitudes. It's just a really strange concept to wrap your head around, but it's cold, it's windy, and all of that
You know what?
equals-
It's not this. I mean, the wind is the wind, but it's also the fact that it mixes closer to the surface. It's when we measure the wind speed, all the way to the top of the rig, and then we measure it. Here we have Ericsson 4 here with Torben Grail. You measure it all the way. You don't measure all the way down to the surface. So from 30 meters up in the mast all the way down to the surface, it's quite a big difference depending on the friction, and that has to do with temperature, waves, a lot of things. And when you have this cold air and this cold water with almost the same temperature, it mixes all the way down, so that you have more wind all the way down to the bottom, and that makes it stronger actually. So here we see, this is my first race, actually 93, 94 Yamaha, the boat that we're leading, and that's I was on board there. That's Intrum Justitian. Bloody hell, that's more than 20 years ago. Makes
Can you
feel-
see which one you are?
I'm somewhere there on the yeah, there I am actually somewhere. So that's more than 20 years ago. Amazing experience. And here we have New Zealand Endeavour with Grant Dalton skippering. It looks like a Chilean Navy ship there.
Double-masted boat. As we said, we'll have helicopter footage of our fleet hopefully coming in tomorrow once the heli gets back down, and then it gets beamed to us from the Beacon through a satellite. It'd be pretty incredible to see.
Absolutely.
Both the heli shots and the guys on board celebrating this iconic rounding. We have some footage as well of the past of these celebrations.
Look at that, Rotmans. The card, there we have Magnus Olsson to the right there, one of the first Swedish boats.
So this is sort of that's the gift to the sea, right? A little bit of a gift to King
Absolutely.
Neptune. Ah, Jean-Luc
Groupama.
Nereus.
Yeah, the Groupama, the winning boat. Charles Caudrelier there with a Cape Horn sign.
Martin Stromberg as well.
Jura Krantz there from Swedish Match, and Earl Williams.
And as you said, the cigar smoking is part of this tradition.
Absolutely.
Unclear as to why.
Absolutely. And that's a little bit east of Cape Horn, and you have something called Straits de la Mar, which is a very sort of narrow little strait that needs to sail through. It can be up to 6, 7, 8 knots of current. It's crazy. And if you have luck and you have the waves against this, the current against the wind, it can be so big waves it can break the boat. So they have to decide whether they go inside of this island called Staten Island or east of it. It's a long detour going east of it, and going inside of it they can have some massive waves, and that's always a big decision coming up now in the next 24 hours.
So probably not a lot of rum drinking this time around with the conditions we have and the decision to go through the straits. We actually heard Ian talking to you about he hasn't made that condition yet. He hasn't made that decision yet.
And you see these guys, I mean, this is actually a boat I also sail on. This is Brazil 1, we had no boats near us, so you had time to sort of play a little bit and have some fun. And but these guys, they're racing flat match racing, around Cape Horn. So I mean, they have no time to even have a little celebration. That's Chuni Bermudez there, having a little cigar and a little celebration.
Well, we think no time, but then we have the scenario we just had with Mapfre, where it looks actually really easy once you get them talking to us. It's like, oh, they can handle anything. They can handle a celebration once the jibes are
Everything
done.
is relative, everyone have their own playground.
Pretty incredible.
Look at that, the whole fleet jammed up around Cape Horn. It's never happened like this
And
before.
you can see just above the words Cape Horn, you can see the Strait de la Mer that you were speaking about earlier, the teams deciding whether to go in or out of that. And then this is weather over the coming 48 hours. So on the left of screen is that big low we've been talking about that'll be catching SCA as they round about tomorrow night, midnight UTC.
And now you've seen that strong northerly wind coming in 24 hours to the east of Cape Horn, and that's going to make a really tough passage for them, basically, to get up past the Falkland Islands, because they could risk 30 to 40 knots of wind in northerly, which is really tough there.
It makes it is quite an upwind. So we are now live on board Dongfang. We've just gotten the live X working with them. Damien Foxall, it looks like. Damien, are you with us?
I am. I'm with you. I'm happy you guys aren't with us.
I think we're happy not to be with you as well, but happy you're all safe and getting towards land. Could you give us an update as to what's been happening over the last couple hours and what your decisions are now going forward?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I think, immediately our main problem is we've still got quite a lot of stuff hanging off the rig, notably the rest of the frac, so the fractional zero. And I suppose we're about 6 or 7 hours from the coast. Our main problem is to make sure that we can get into the harbour, or at least...
Did we lose them?
We're losing them a little bit. Unfortunately, you can hear he's trying to get towards the coast. Okay, Damien, we have you back, sorry. And if you could stay there, now we can see you in screen. No, I think we are losing him, you guys. We've lost the audio, unfortunately. But it sounds like all is okay on board. We'll try one more time, Damien. Now I'm hearing you again. If you could pick up, we heard you say getting towards shore and towards harbor to try to get the frac down and keep going from there.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, our main challenge is to get the sail off the rig so that we can get into the lee of the land safely. But just to be sure, we're also getting ready to drop the whole rig over the side if we can't stabilize the situation before we get into the coast. Sure, we're going to be able to recover the rig, what we have. We just need to cut the frac zero off the back. All good.
Amazing.
Everyone's still healthy. A few broken bits and pieces.
And you guys have had a rest down below, and now we're back up on deck dealing with the rest of it?
Yeah. I mean, we're just kind of rotating through watches. We still have quite a few hours to go before we get into the coast. Yeah, I think we're just slowly working through it. You know, every single step you have to be careful that, you know, one thing you do has a chain reaction. So we're just taking our time and making sure that we don't make things more complicated than they already are. Last night was complicated enough. Really, a lot of potential for making things worse, and at least everyone's safe and healthy, and that's good.
Wow, we're actually seeing footage from your mast right now of your fractional dragging in the water behind you. So that's actually really incredible for us to be able to see that, and to even know that the live cameras are still working up there, but it's clearly slowing you down. You don't think you'll be able to get it in, though, until you get closer to land?
No, actually, you know, one thing you might be able to help us look for volunteers to go up and cut that off. Anyone out there want to give us a hand?
Hey, if you'd heli me in, I would sail that boat in, even if it does have a broken mast. Thanks so much for your time, Damien. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, cheers. Bye. No, that's good. All good.
All right, cool. Best of luck to you guys as you reach shore. Pretty amazing, though, that you can see that the sail's actually dragging. I mean, also incredible that camera's actually working at the top of the rig, but clearly it's broken above that, above the third spreader. But their fractional's finally sort of shredded, and there's a fishing net behind them, basically. Well, I think that's it. We've made it through the entire fleet, which was lucky. The only team I think we didn't see was SCA, but we clearly heard from Sam Davies, and we'll actually be trying to live X with them tomorrow. The ETA for SCA now is midnight, Tuesday night UTC, so about 2 or 3 in the morning here in Europe, and we will be speaking with them. We'll put that out on the inside track on Wednesday. And then the incredible part, of course, the footage from the helicopters, the footage from the boats. We'll be pushing that out across all of our channels as we get it. And Itajaí, the current ETA for the finishes is between the 5th and the 6th, so less than a week away now, either next Sunday or next Monday. And of course, we will be live again with those arrivals. Fingers crossed that it stays this close until the end there.
Absolutely. No, this is going to be a close race, and one thing you know from all the different legs we have done coming up to Brazil in the past, this leg is not over before the finish line. I mean, last time I think Puma was hundreds of miles in front of Telefonica and barely managed to get in front of them on the finish line, because you get a lot of compression, in particular at night time, and also, you know, close to the South American coast. So nothing is over. This leg is not over before the finish line, that's for sure.
And as we showed, the weather is going to be really tough again as they round. So
absolutely.
A huge thank you to everyone here in the office for being able to pull off today. The watch producers doing a great job teeing up the live X's, and of course race control as always, keeping an eye out on the fleet. We'll keep you guys posted on our social channels, online and on the app, especially about Dongfeng Race Team as they approach land. And of course, keep an eye out for the media and the coverage that's coming off the boats tomorrow. And we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.